doubt you allowing me to keep him is even an option anymore because you're insane. She wasted hours of all of our lives. And she says, if doing a home inspection and seeing him here with us after his surgery is something that would help, but everything is up to you. I'll be fine with a follow-up inspection visit down the road. I completely get that you are all likely pretty fed up with me by now.
Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh, my dog, hey.
Oh, my dog, hello.
We're back
Literally.
from vacation.
Yay.
So Tanner was so nice as to push this back by a couple of days so he gets to speed edit for Fridays.
And I was so glad that we scheduled it for Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday. I thought,
Yeah.
oh my God, that tomorrow's
No.
going to be a nightmare. And then Kara's like, no, we scheduled it for Wednesday. Oh, good.
And it worked out because it rained today and it was kind of a better day.
Yeah.
It rained today and stopped raining the minute you walked in the studio.
It's true.
Definitely.
Usually it starts raining when we get here and then we have rain noises to deal with. But
It was so nice. You posted that picture of us in Key West when we first got there with the picture of the dogs in the background and whatnot. And
yeah.
There's so many comments in there. Oh, you girls deserve this. Have such a great time. You more than deserve.
We
I'm
didn't
like,
even have to write
"Aw."
we needed this as the caption at all.
Well,
Everyone was like, you did
thanks.
need that.
You're not wrong. We definitely needed that.
We
Bunch of
did.
middle-aged white women. We needed this. We had such a great time.
Yeah.
Our friend Jenny got married to
Mhm.
Paul, a wonderful human being, both of them.
Just the most sweet, wonderful couple of humans. Yeah,
Very
they're really great.
easygoing, laid
Yeah,
back,
very
chill
chill.
people. Although that's Jenny in Key West. Jenny here in Iowa is a totally different person. Oh
She's
man,
less go with the flow.
we had such a great time though. We stayed on Duval Street,
Yes.
which is the most popular street, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the Bourbon Street of Key West.
Okay.
Yeah.
We saw all the things, drank all the drinks, and we stayed at a lovely little hotel that had a pool.
It was a motel, so it had like all the doors open on the
Oh,
outside, but it
yeah.
was like really nice. But that's important to the story.
So, in true Holly and Kara fashion, we're sitting out by the pool late at night one night. We're having cocktails and just enjoying the humidity.
Yes.
And the hotel has this cat, Mr. P. Actually, I don't know if he like belongs to the hotel, but he kind of roams around.
Like a neighborhood cat, but they like claim him. When you get there, the first thing he said, he's like, "We have a cat."
We have a cat. I'm like,
We're
cool.
like, okay.
Not allergic. That's great.
Yeah.
And he's very healthy. He's an all black cat. He's like a miniature panther, honestly.
Yeah, he was cool.
And I'm sure that he gets so tired of tourists talking to him and trying to pet him because he avoided us like the plague for the first 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it's like 1:00 in the morning and we're like, okay, probably should go in. We got a big day tomorrow and whatever. And we told Mr. P goodbye and he's like, yeah, whatever. And we get to our room door and there he is right behind us. And we're like, oh, hello. Would you like to come in? And he did. He just followed us right in.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had some leftover fish from dinner.
Yes.
And Kara was so concerned about him drinking chlorinated water from the pool.
Yes, I was like chasing him around trying to get I mean, I know he drinks chlorinated water from the pool every day of his life, but I was like, no, Mr. P, not on my watch. You can't have this water.
She chased him off twice from the pool. And so she puts down a mug of water, which he promptly drinks at least an inch of it. And I'm putting down all this fish, and he's like, man, he hits the jackpot. And so, yeah, he spent the night with us. We played with him for a bit. He jumped up on the beds, and we were playing with him under the covers, with our fingers, and he was biting them and biting us. And I'm like, I'm glad I'm vaccinated for rabies. And he slept right by my head all night.
Yep.
On his own pillow that he claimed, all by himself. And he woke me up the next morning. He did meow, meow, meow. It's like, obviously, he wanted out. But I didn't want to let him go before saying goodbye to Kara. So I was like, okay, come here. Come say goodbye to Kara.
And he hopped up on the bed, ran around a little bit, and then he was like, see you later.
And we never saw him again.
Nope, that was it.
I opened the door and he walked out and he sat on the stoop for a little minute and thought, did I really want to leave those nice white women though? Oh, Mr. P.
I just learned a little bit about you. You saved fish that you were eventually going to reheat and eat again?
I was going to eat it cold. We didn't have a microwave.
Oh, I was going to say, because everybody knows what microwave fish smells like.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
No, I wouldn't do that. I really took leftovers because somebody else paid for the dinner,
yeah.
and I always feel bad if I don't finish my meal, like
Yeah.
no matter what.
And we like ordered a lot of food, so
We did, and it was a very nice restaurant, so I was like, I'll take this to go. And then I was like, well, we don't have utensils at the room, so I stole a fork from the restaurant.
And Mr. P was very thankful for all of those choices she made.
Oh man! And then the next day we went out on a sandbar excursion. They got a boat and a captain and all the things, and it was just the 6 of us. It was very nice, and we went out on the sandbars and out in the Keys, out in the middle of the ocean, the Gulf of America now.
No, it's not.
Whatever. And tell them about the water doggies.
Yes, I was so excited. So the first place we stopped was like not very inhabited, and there weren't a ton of people. It was just like one other boat.
It's a good thing because Jenny's dad almost died.
He did almost drown. It was pretty, yeah.
Touch and go there for a
Touch and
second.
go for a hot second. And I thought for sure, I was like, well, we brought a 75-year-old man out here who literally almost drowned like in the first 20 minutes of this like 6-hour excursion. Like, he's going to take us back and be like, you can't go out. Like, you're not well. Like, But he was go with the flow enough. He drug him
I don't think the captain was.
Yeah, the captain
feeling
was
any pain
let's
either.
say he was on our level.
And Kara and I are out in the water, and we're like away from the other crowd because we'd gotten in the water first, and we're like over by the edge or whatever, and I'm like, Kara, this guy might, because he had trouble getting into the water. I was like, oh my gosh, what
Like,
if
how
this
are we
guy
gonna get him
dies?
back?
And Kara's like, I had a vision that he died, and I'm like, oh my god. And then like 10 minutes later, this whole thing happened.
Quite nearly drowned.
And I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast before, but the power of OMD females saying things and then them happening is real.
Terrifying.
I mean, really real. Years ago, we were talking about this vet in the area who was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And
like, I had to stop going to him because he broke my dog's rib when giving him a vaccine because he hit the bone so hard.
Yeah.
He broke his rib, and he was drunk at the time.
But he was super cheap.
Very cheap. It was like $12 to go get your dog vaccinated. It was outrageous.
And so...
What's that saying? You can get cheap, good, and fast, but you can't get all three of them or something like that?
Yeah. He was just cheap, and that was it.
So we're talking about this vet in a group chat with another volunteer of ours, and Courtney.
Yeah.
And we were talking about him. I was like, there's no way this guy isn't dead yet. And so we're all looking him up, and he's like, no, he's still alive. I was like, I cannot believe he hasn't pickled himself entirely. Yeah. And I shit you not. I'm not even kidding. 10 days later. Yeah. It was 10 days. 10 days later, Courtney sends the obituary for this guy. And I'm like, oh my dog. We just killed a guy.
Him. We killed the vet.
So anyway, we're out in the middle of the Keys, and Kara's talking about having these visions. I'm like, oh my god.
I had like a legitimate vision that he just
and then all this shit happens. I said, Kara, we have to stop saying things out loud. It's becoming a problem.
Well, and then the whole rest of the trip, I was like, that was the beginning. He's going to die.
Yeah.
But
it was a whole thing.
He didn't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
the rest that was the beginning. And then the rest of it was awesome. So then we went to what they call Snipe Key, which is a really big sandbar that has this really beautiful, super soft white sand.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
If you've never been out to the sandbars outside or in the Keys, the water is completely clear. You can see all the way to the bottom. It's absolutely beautiful. So we go to, Snipe Keys, and all of these boats are pulled up, and we start noticing, like, on the beginning, like, what's it called? The bow of the boat, the beginning of the boat, there's, like, dogs, like, up waiting to jump in the water. I'm like, oh my gosh, are they gonna like get out?
Super excited.
Yeah, they're so excited. It's like a dog park in the middle of the ocean is what we came across.
There were a lot of dogs out there, really.
A lot.
And the tide, when we got there, the tide was high.
Yeah.
So it was like thigh deep.
Yeah.
It wasn't waist deep, but it was thigh deep. And so these dogs, what were they? Springer Spaniels?
Mm-hmm.
They jump in.
And a doodle, a Springer Spaniel, and a doodle with 2 bows in her hair.
And they jump in, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I like this. And they're like paddling, and the guy's like walking away from his boat, and he just keeps walking and just keeps walking. I'm like, they have to swim back. And one of them was, it appeared as though one of them was struggling way more than the other one.
Right.
But then Kara's like, I'm going to go talk to him. Kara can talk to a brick wall, I've learned. And, which normally I can too, but on that particular day I was a little more reserved. And, so she goes over and starts talking to him, and what did he say? That they love it and they go out there all the time?
Yes, and then he said that when the tide goes down all the way, they can follow that whole... the sand is completely exposed at that point.
It wasn't at this point.
It wasn't at this point. And then they would go up to one of the keys, which is like the little islands that are made of mangroves, and they would hunt.
Oh, wow.
And they were eating frogs and
lizards, I'm sure.
and like they would come back with like all of these treasures that they're hunting in the mangroves. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, while I was standing there, the one of them came up to me and just like put its little legs up on me, and it was just resting. I was like, hi. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And then by the time we were like leaving, they were probably getting close to touching because it started to go down pretty quick.
Yeah, they were able to touch the sand, but
Yeah.
it was still well above their water line.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And then we saw a chihuahua. He was circumnavigating the boat. He was just running around the whole outside of the boat. And it's like one of those boats that have like the big front, so he had to like walk on the top of the boat, like in between that and like this metal rail, like where a normal person or dog wouldn't go, but he was so small he just went.
They were trying to get him in the water. He's like, no, I'm good here.
I like it up here.
So it was kind of ironic that we had just done the episode on dogs in the water, and we're like, okay, what did we say about the CPR thing?
Nothing, we don't know.
Oh, but we had fun.
Yes.
Am I right or you're right?
Yeah, right?
I still
Right as you're looking at it or as you're looking over it? I don't know.
We found out it's the passenger side.
One side. So we had quite the travel adventures on the way down, which doesn't need rehashed, but just know that
it took a lot of work to get us on
on
a plane.
God. I was never so happy to actually land somewhere. And we're waiting for our Uber, wasn't it? We're like getting, because we didn't check our bags or anything. Anyway, and the bat phone rings.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
So, like, well, we don't have anything else to do. Might as well answer that, see what comes out of it. It's this lady, and she just goes straight into her story.
And the first words she said was, I've got a pony, and I want to dye it pink. And I was like, what does she think she's calling? Like, who is this?
Like, Pink Pony Club.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. And it in those instances, because this happens more often than not, the art of introducing yourself on a phone call is completely lost.
No, they just launch into what they're thinking.
I mean, when I was a kid, that was taught to me.
Yeah.
Like, we practiced it at home. Like, you pick up the phone and you dial the number and you say, hi, this is Holly, and I'm calling for da-da-da-da-da. No, people don't do that anymore. They just go straight into it. So she just goes straight into it. And I'm in the middle of this airport.
It being
and I'm like,
a complete nonsensical rant about her pony.
That she wants to dye pink, and if we don't mind, she'd like to accept donations on our behalf to get pictures with her pink pony at Pride. And I'm like,
what?
In Ames? She said in Ames. And I said, oh, is that going on now? At Ames or Pride in Des Moines? Or what? Like, no, this is not till October. And I'm like, what's going on here? What are we talking? Or do you want us to be there? Is it dogs on the pony?
What's the pony have to do with this?
Yeah, where's the you want us to provide a pony? What are we doing? It was very bizarre. But by the end of it, I didn't even catch her name.
I have no idea.
Gave it to us.
I don't think so. She's just the pink pony lady.
So if you attend Pride in Ames in October,
why would there be a Pride in October in Ames? That doesn't even make sense.
No idea.
I didn't catch the October part.
Apparently
That's so
there
strange.
is. If you come across a pink pony, just know that she's accepting donations.
There's some sort of parade that she's gonna put. Oh, Ames Pride Fest, October 11th. That is odd. Why do they do that?
Cool.
Probably because everybody else comes to Des Moines for the June one. Wait, isn't this normally in June?
Well, why doesn't she just I mean, why wouldn't you, if you're going to color it anyway, why wouldn't you do all the colors of the rainbow? I mean, that
Yeah.
would be cooler, right?
Yes, but I suppose the Pink Pony Club thing is probably she's
Oh,
gonna be kind of
yeah,
a
yeah,
draw. You
That
know?
makes sense. Which we definitely karaoke'd Pink Pony Club on, just off of Duval. That
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yes, there was karaokeing. I didn't karaoke. Holly did.
I got pulled up on
Holly karaokeed Taylor Swift of all.
which I didn't. He was adamant
yes,
because I was just like sitting there
yeah, she got drafted.
drinking my drink, and I got drafted onto karaoke.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Watch out, Taylor. Here I come. Anyway, all in all, great trip.
Yeah.
We even came out of it with permanent art,
Yes.
which my dad asked about that today. I went and picked cherries with my dad this morning because we usually do that on Father's Day, but because I wasn't here, we did it today. And we got tattoos in Key West, and I got these little paw prints on my wrist, and I had that Saniderm
Yeah, Saniderm sticky bandage. Yeah.
over it. Well, it wasn't time to take it off yet, so I still had it on. And we're picking cherries, of course, like your wrist is fully exposed. Not that I was trying to hide it, but
Yeah.
I'm a grown adult. I can do what I want. I got adult money.
Yeah.
And Dad's like, "What's wrong with your wrist?" I was like, "Oh, Kara and I got tattoos in Key West, and I got the very slightest, not full blown RW head shake of disappointment." And then he saw what it was, just little paw prints. He's like, "Oh, that's cute."
Oh, that's
Anyway,
funny.
Kara got a beautiful paw print with like a mandala in the back.
Yeah.
Very cute.
It's very cute. I
On
like
her
it a
leg.
lot.
Much bigger. I'm very glad that I got these little itty bitty things on my wrist, even though it costs the same as yours.
Did it really?
Well, no, I think yours cost more, but
Yeah.
not by much.
Not by much. Yeah, because you were at the minimum, so.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna get all these little paw prints up and down my arm now. I'll just do a trail of them for all my dogs. Just all, and then maybe
She'll
come
end
up,
up looking like a Dalmatian herself.
maybe go across the forehead.
right over your eyelids.
Then I really would get the RW head shake of disappointment for sure.
He might even not speak to you for a while if you showed up with paw prints on your eyelids.
Oh.
She's gone fully crazy, and I would get blamed.
But even on vacation, we did a little bit of work. We
Well-
talked about a few things, and then I don't know why you had your computer out.
Well, I got it out because we had some adoptions, and we had a few minutes before we were going to go
Oh, yeah.
wherever. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull down those dogs that got adopted and update. Oh, I had a dog that I'd posted that, by the way, I thought was a
Ripley.
boy.
Which is a what?
Boy.
What is a Ripley? It sounds like a...
A boy name, right?
It does sound like a boy name. I immediately
It's
thought
not.
of Ripley's, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was like, this is some famous dog.
In this
It's
instance,
not.
it's a
very
female.
nondescript female dog that I assumed was a boy wrongly, so I had to go on and change her gender.
That's the second or third time we've done that with rescue people,
And
rescue
dogs.
things.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so Carrie had her computer out. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be great if...
And I was like, I don't think you can do that.
And I was like,
And so then she just is Googling, and I'm tinkering around, and she's Googling, and she's like, what about this? I found this thing. And so we follow the steps. And sure enough, it's going to be kind of a pain in the Batuski to do in the beginning, but then once we get it set up, it'll be not so bad.
It's a one-time pain in the ass.
But then what will happen is, so we try to make, and we've talked about this before, we try to make like fostering easy. We try to like remove the barrier to entry to like
Yes.
do this work.
Because that's where a lot of rescues get bottlenecked and then get frustrated and then get burnout and then quit. Because they have all of these points of contact that just
Human errors, and that
just
slows
clog
things
everything
down.
up and slows everything down. And in the end, what is gained is so minimal compared to the loss of the number of dogs that you can save or the number of lives that you can save.
Yeah.
So right now, the way that it happens is when we get an adoption application, it gets emailed to a special email address, which we have a volunteer, Courtney, monitoring that email. And then she forwards on that email to the foster home, and then the foster home gets it that way.
But not before she has to save it, go click on it, save it as a PDF,
Open
attach
it,
it,
blah,
it's a
blah,
whole
blah.
thing.
It's a...
And I used to do all of them, and I was like, this is terrible. So I tried like screenshotting, and I tried like grabbing the text. It was just never quite great. Like it was never a good solution, but they got the information and it was fine.
Right.
But
So now once we get this all set up, which is going to take some doing, it's going to take a little bit of time. The application will be routed directly to the foster home
For that dog.
for that dog.
So each posting will have a button on it and that button is going to have a link to its own application, which has all the same fields as, our regular application, but then has this add-on that Holly found that once you click go, it packages up the application in a PDF.
Nice little PDF.
And it puts all of the answers in the body of the email.
Very easy to read,
and
easy
then
to scan.
It will automatically go to whichever foster is tied to that dog.
Right.
As long as we put the right link in the button.
Now we're going to have to figure out if they just fill out the general adoption application, like under forms.
That'll just do the same thing, I think. It would just keep it how it is. And then either me or Courtney will handle those. Because usually we're just emailing them back to say, what
but
do you
you're
want?
still going to get it in such a better way.
Yeah, we can still
You're
do
gonna
it
get
that
in a
way.
nice little PDF and you can just forward it on.
Yeah, exactly.
Additionally, we are adding to this process a text alert, which takes additional doing.
Yeah. One more step or two or three.
We had to purchase, well, it was free, but you have to get credits to send text messages, which the credits are 0.00083 cents per text message. So literally mice nuts.
Yeah, no big deal.
So we get this phone number, but we have to verify it, which is like a 3 to 5 day process, blah, blah, blah. But when the applicant fills out the adoption application, it will send a text alert to that foster saying, you have a new application from Susie Q for Ripley. So it's a nice descriptive. These emails, because we get all these emails, and
They all say
the subject is all the
your
same.
form was filled out. Adoption
Yeah.
application.
And so you have to go through each one and open each one and remember which one was which and da-da-da-da-da. So now the subject line in the text and in the email is going to say, you have a new application from Susie Q for whatever dog you have.
I don't know if we'll be able to do the for whatever dog you have.
Yeah, I did.
No, I mean logistically every time, because you'd have to go and recreate the form. And
No, it takes it from the form.
Oh, you don't have to put it into the.
You can put any of those information.
So it
things.
pulls it from that field.
Any of the fields you can put in any of this stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Very cool.
Okay.
So they're gonna get a text alert, and then the email will be waiting for them in their inbox. So there's a couple reasons why this is important. Obviously, we are volunteer ran.
Yeah.
So people have lives, people have jobs, people get busy, things happen, whatever. So let's just lay it out. We get a foster application today at 7:30 p.m. You're busy here with me. Courtney's busy at an event, whatever, life, whole things. Courtney doesn't get to it until tomorrow morning. Okay. So she sends it to the foster at, let's say, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. She gets to work, opens her email, she sends it on to the foster. They get it at 9 o'clock. Well, the foster is at work.
They're at work till 6 p.m.
They're not going to get to it till 6 p.m. tonight. Well, they got a ball game tonight for their kids. So, yeah, they might have seen it, but they're not really looking at it. They'll get to them tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And then by then, you're 2 days out. And by the time they reach out to the applicant, there you are.
Yeah.
2.5 days away from when they actually apply.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the foster is going to get the text alert right now at 7:30 p.m. They're sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah.
Or not, whatever. But they're going to get to it tomorrow morning when they get to work. Or they'll text them tonight saying, hey, got your application. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Right.
We just shaved off a day and a half.
Right.
That's huge.
It's a big deal.
That's a big deal in foster world time.
And if you've ever tried to adopt a dog, let me tell you, no one is getting back to you
No
that
one's
quickly.
getting back to you that quickly.
Or at all. It's crazy. And the thing of it is, it's really funny to me, is all these people that email us, text us, call us to make sure that we got their application. And we're still, even with our process currently.
Which is highly streamlined relative to other rescues right now.
We're very, very fast. It's usually within 24 to 48 hours before they hear from anybody. We're still getting people that are following up. I was like, are they following up like this with other rescues? And then when they do, no one responds. So we had kind of a funny application that came through that was just the most outrageous thing ever. She was like, is this application created by AI? Are you legitimate? Is this a scam? How am I supposed to know? You're not asking me any question, or you're not making any points for me to ask questions about the dog. How do you not care about what if I have questions about the dog? It's like
Yeah.
you're filling out the application so that we can connect with you in person.
There's
you
all
idiot.
these questions about the human, but no human to dog questions.
It's like, well, the
vetting
dog
wise. I'm
doesn't have
like,
an email
We're not vetting the dog for you. We're vetting you
for the dog.
for the dog.
And then we'll let
Hello.
you know if you're a good fit. Like, it was the most outrageous thing ever. And then Courtney was like, a couple days later, she's like, should I be replying to this?
No.
And Holly and I were like,
Absolutely not.
no, we are absolutely not responding.
It's not going to
that.
matter what you say to that person. It really isn't.
She's very terrified of AI and robots and monsters, I think. But
Anyway, I'm very excited about this process. Courtney did bring up a good point that because she does some pre-vetting before she forwards on applications. Like, she's not going to forward on a shit application.
Mhm.
But I think we are also still going to get a copy of it.
Yes.
And so we're also
I
still going to
check
see it.
The spreadsheet where all of the applications show up, like daily, although that is the one thing that I don't love is that it drops it in different.
Yeah.
It's not all in one giant spreadsheet now. It's on pages or sheets within the workbook, which annoys me. But whatever, it'll be fine. It's the payoff is much worth me having to click through some.
I think that goes into training volunteers.
Yeah.
And so when we release this, when we go live with this, I think I know that we will make a post and explain to our fosters, hey, listen,
This is a new process.
just because you get an application doesn't mean you have to respond to it necessarily. If it's an absolutely bogus application.
Like, for instance, today we received an application and the dog that they wanted was listed pit bull. And then it had like very minimal information about themselves. And it was like, and then there's a little spot where you can say, like, tell us why you'd be the best home for this dog or why do you want to adopt this dog?
One word.
Protection.
Yeah.
What? No.
I don't know if you know this, but you're not the one protecting the bulldog. The pit bull.
Yeah.
Pit bull's the one protecting you.
Yeah. I think that's what they were looking for, but that's not why you're getting a dog.
Very weird.
So strange. But anyway, you get
Goes
something
into
like that.
Training fosters.
yeah.
Like,
well,
and the fosters that have been with us for a long time,
they know.
they're going to know.
Well, I think that's where it comes into that idea where we talked about having like a buddy.
Mentors.
Yeah, like the older or the more seasoned or OG fosters, you get assigned one of those as your not the word, but case manager or
Right.
foster buddy or whatever.
Sounding board.
Yeah, your person to talk through questions. And then I also was thinking about, because we can drop in any message that we want, and so I wanted to outline, like, what do you do when you get an application? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're not sure it's a good fit and you don't know how to help, then Courtney can keep doing this, like, for, like, that side of things. I think she's been invaluable. So, like,
Oh, absolutely.
if they aren't sure if this is a good fit for their dog or they have questions about the app or whatever, then they email the application's email and she handles it from there. I think that'll kind of take care of that. But
Yeah, Courtney can now become the rejections lady.
she's the hotline.
She'd be great at that.
She would. She does a good job.
So, always looking for these little streamlines. I am well aware that there are an infinite number of add-ons within Google, and honestly, even in our phones. Like, I have this, I don't even know how much this phone costs, but it's an ungodly amount, I'm sure. There's so many things that I'm sure it can do that I just don't even know
No.
that it can do.
Right.
That would probably make my life much easier, but
Oh, yeah.
here we
for
are.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's going to be very, very good. We just need like a full day to sit down and do it. And actually, if we have a couple of tech-savvy volunteers, once we get the process down, we can create an SOP that says, like, here's how you make a new application, and then we just go through it and do it.
Yeah, I started writing down the steps when I was
good.
doing it because I was like, well,
Yeah, we're going to have to remember this.
just let me write this down real quick.
Yes, it'll be good. And we'll, and we're getting better about asking for help and delegating things and all of that, which is the very important part of growing. So it'll be really good. But it's exciting. If you're listening to this and because you're somebody who's in rescue, just like, no, you don't have to like stunt.
Struggle.
Well, you don't have to like stop because it's the way you've always done things. It's okay to like
Pivot.
evaluate, pivot, and like make some changes, even if it seems like a lot of work or a little scary, if it's going to be better in the long run.
And we talked about this out by the pool late one night too, helping other rescues or other shelters, because we see especially shelters right now struggling immensely because that's a higher job. And it's financially supported by the city or the whatever territory it lands, the county or whatever thing it is. Within hours of each other, there were 2 shelters, completely opposite sides of the state, that had posted that it's like SOS for them. They are drowning. They don't have the support from their government. They don't have
Staff they
the
need.
staff they need. They don't have the runs that they need. They're full, like super full with
And
dogs still
usually
coming
in
in
the
every
state of
day.
Iowa, as a whole, I mean, we know that there are shelters that are euthanizing, but like usually Iowa as a whole, we're not bad for like Oklahoma
There's
and
more no
Missouri
kills than
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a higher volume of the no kill community. But even the people were like, we're gonna have to euthanize because we don't have anywhere to put all these dogs, and now we have a line out the door every morning. What do we
and
do?
they can't reject them
No,
because they're
right,
contractually obligated.
right. They have to take them.
So, what we were talking about by the pool was how can we help these rescues and shelters other than just taking dogs off their hands, which
Right.
we're happy to do that too.
Like a rescue consultancy of some sort.
Something to say, okay, like a roadmap, like a
know,
checklist.
Weren't you the one that was telling me about that you can write books on Amazon and sell them somehow? Maybe it was
That
Stacy that was talking to me about it. I bet it
sounds like a
was.
Stacy's.
That sounds like something she got into, and I was like, I think at the time I'm like, I don't understand. But she's like, basically, you can create this thing. So we create this guide that's 100 pages of just ideas and outlines and how you can do things and all that kind of stuff, and then you put it on Amazon and you sell it for like
These
$20.
These digital assets, especially
Yeah.
on like Etsy, people are making bank.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll just do like some little checklist on things to clean in your house on a monthly schedule or some crap like
It's
that.
like a printable.
Yeah, and somebody will pay $15 for it, and then they get
They
the download.
They reproduce
It's like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And then that's it. But everybody's doing their own thing. They're doing it. They've started their own rescue just like we did for the
Right.
reasons that we did. But maybe they could just use some guidance in that way. I don't know. I don't want
Yeah.
to sound like a
Well, and I think that we would have
expert by any means.
No, I
but
mean we had a bit of a roadmap to follow that got us to where our starting point was, but I know we've had people that have reached out to us that have been referred to us to just say like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a rescue. Like, what do I need to think about? What do I do next? And it's just a hard question to answer, but like to put pen to paper and like give a better idea to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think when you do that, just like when you're in a job and you're writing, your operating procedure and creating your continuity plan and all of that kind of stuff, you learn things about your process that need to be tweaked while you're doing it.
Yep, bottlenecks and things that could be better and we're thinking through after we figured all this out. We were like, well, okay, well, what else are our pain points? Of course, like getting records from the vet is a pain point. It's like we're constantly asking for
Every
it.
freaking appointment, every freaking dog. We have
Even
to call
after
and ask.
we talk to them about it and talk to the front desk about it and say, okay, anytime an OMD dog checks out, just
Email us the
automatically
records.
email us the records.
Never happened.
And sometimes there's a delay because the vet has to
Put their
finish their
notes
notes
in
and finish all the documentation and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But,
Well,
it's
one
just
thing
one
I
of those
did
loopholes
start.
that we can't do anything about because we don't like.
Yeah,
I would
we
love
don't
to just get into
control
your
it.
system and play around a little bit.
Well, that gives me an idea though, because one of the managers at University West reached out and was like, "Hey, we hate that we have to bug you all the time to fill out the paperwork for this. Like, what could we do?" And I said, "Could you just email me or text me on Friday afternoon and just say who we've got scheduled for the upcoming week, and then I'll just do all of the paperwork then." And that's what we've been doing, and it works great. So what if the next time they go back to look at who they did the last Friday afternoon, and then they send us the
Send us
records
all
for
the-
those? Like,
But so often we have dogs
I
adopted
know
out the next
it's
day
quicker.
or
It
the
is.
day after that.
Yeah, that's true. We have them like they're ready to go home, and we're just waiting for the spay.
I'm sure the vet platform options are vast.
Right.
But wouldn't it be nice if all of the vets were on the same system and they
Well,
all
a lot
talk
of
to
them
each
are,
other
but
and they,
just like my chart for
and you
humans.
could grant like rescue access. You know what I mean? Like a user.
There is an online portal, but it has zero of what we need. It's meant for like a person with a dog.
There's our $1 million idea, Kara.
Yes.
Build a platform for rescues for vet records,
Yes.
like an add-on.
Yes. There are things. Yeah.
Kara's doing the beautiful mind thing.
Anyway, all the ideas, and I don't know. We're just kind of naturally, Holly and I enjoy like efficiencies and things, so I think that's helpful.
Yeah,
But
this is fun for me.
yeah.
Doing this kind of stuff.
Speaking of fun,
Oh my god.
oh my,
I don't even want to admit this.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me though. I know.
I'm not. I will say the words after you read. So our little otter, the newest and most adorable and most blind foster fail between the founders of this rescue. He is this scruffy little puff, and I was sure, my guess was that he was a Chorky. I thought for sure he was somewhat Chihuahua because he's just got this little delicate frame, and then he got this scruffy hair that usually means that a Yorkie is mixed in with something. Usually they add that Yorkie and it creates this like weird wiry hair. I don't know. So I was sure it was a Yorkie. I was like, nothing else. That's exactly what it's going to be. It is neither a Chihuahua nor a Yorkie.
And I think we mentioned this on 2 podcasts ago that when he came in with his paperwork, it said Min Pin Poodle mix.
And we were like, that
We're
is
like,
stupid.
Get the
First of
outta
all,
here.
who would even do that?
It didn't make any sense.
No,
I mean, the coloring of the Min Pin maybe,
kind of,
but the poodle was like, there's no flipping way.
yeah, no poodle.
No flipping way. No.
Well,
there is. So we were on the plane getting ready to take off,
like
and,
right before they make you turn off your Wi-Fi or your
and I'm like, oh,
signal.
I got an email from Embark. Here it is. They're ready. And I was just telling you about it, like
Yeah.
5 seconds before that too. We say things and they happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm like trying to open it, and it's trying to make me log in, and it's doing the like just give me the freaking results, man. All of these logins are driving me wild. And so I get it just in time. He is 41% miniature schnauzer, which checks.
Yeah. And the other day when she posted a picture, showed me a picture of him, I was like, okay, I do see the schnauzer in his face when he like looks right at you and he's like kind of like a grimace,
He's kind of got the bearded beard things. He is 32% poodle, 21% miniature pincher, which also makes sense,
Yeah.
and 5.4% American Eskimo dog.
Which is absolute garbage. He is not.
So I said that to our group chat.
And every single one of us individually and directly said,
so you own a doodle then? Like, I own a schnoodle. And I would like to
return him.
Yeah. Go ahead and put him back on the site, Kara.
It's so strange because he doesn't have any sort of attributes of poodle hair. However, we do sometimes see doodles that come in that have zero doodle.
He doesn't look like a doodle at all. And Courtney's like, well, doodles are pretty great. So I was like, well, he isn't. So there's another reason that this doesn't track. No, he's a great little kid. And every day he's grown a little bit. He gave me a ton of kisses when I got home the other night. And he's just a good little boy. But I am here to say that I own a schnoodle.
Doodle. She's a doodle owner.
I want to do the other brand of DNA
Yeah,
testing.
just to like confirm. Schnaupin. A miniature Schnaupin. That's a thing. But this one looks like him. If he had a haircut.
Yeah.
I mean, a schnoodle min pin is what I googled, and that's what he looks like.
He was sleeping in a toy box when I left.
I thought they were gonna say
today.
toilet. I was like, Lord, get a hold of him.
Oh, he's a good boy. Well, you have a lovely update to share.
Yeah, we got an email, and when I started reading it, I was like, oh God.
Here we go.
Here we go. Somebody's gonna want to return their doodle, you know, and she.
The email wasn't from me, by the way.
Yes, it was from a nice lady named Michaela, who she had a year ago messaged and had some questions about how to integrate the dog into her household. He was a very, very shy, very under-socialized dog, and so she had asked some questions. We had sent over some advice, and then we heard nothing more again. It's been like a year. So she writes, I wanted to give you an update regarding the behavioral trainer I hired. Her name is Janae with Golden Heart Dog Training, which I haven't looked up. I've never heard of them, but came to our home in February. She was able to observe Macy and Winnie and what our setup looks like. She was glad to see they could settle down and coexist for most of the time. However, Janae did actually recommend at that time that Macy be a single dog and that we focus on reactivity training with her before considering adding a second dog to the household. She believed Macy might be better to be able to bond with a playmate who's younger, had similar energy levels, and will play with her. Macy does show that she wants to have playmate interactions with Winnie, but Winnie doesn't really return those signals except for very brief moments. However, I made a commitment to Winnie. What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Weird.
Excuse me. She is loved, and we have gotten so attached to her. Returning Winnie is unthinkable. And I at that point when I read all the first part of it, and I was like, "Gosh darn it! It's a year. Come on, what's wrong with you people?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing. You're wonderful."
Aw.
Tomorrow marks 7 months, I guess. 7 months with Winnie. And things have significantly improved in the last few months. While Macy and Winnie did not turn out to be the friends and playmates I really hoped they would be, they're at least mostly cohabitating peacefully. There are still random tense moments where they growl or snap at each other over items, food, and space, but once I remove them from the situation, they're okay. Janae and I have training sessions a couple times a month and are focusing primarily on Macy's reactivity and have also done some training with both dogs on resource guarding food. I am very hopeful about training. Thank you for your guidance back in January, and thank you for bringing Winnie into our lives. She is so comfortable here and is the most loving dog anyone could ask for. What? Come on!
We need a round of applause,
Like,
please.
Good heavens!
This is how it works, folks. This is what
I
you're
was
supposed to do.
literally cheering in my office as I'm reading this email. I'm like, no, it was
Man.
such a roller coaster. I was like, oh God, they're gonna return this dog, and I was trying to look back to see what it was. Like, I stopped reading because I was like,
Right.
shoot, I gotta go find out what the dog she's talking about and like what I'm gonna have to deal with and who had the dog and all the things. And I went back and I was like, oh,
We should put add a testimonies page to our website
yeah,
to put things like this.
yeah, about like how
Like,
what it's
just
actually
as,
like to
like,
adopt a dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a hey, this is how it's supposed to work kind of thing. Very cool. I love
Honestly,
that. I always love stories like that.
Well, I mean, we just don't get those. We get stupid shit. Which we've got a stupid shit one that we'll read to you, but I guess we can take a little break between the good, the bad, and talk about our ins and outs, I guess.
Intakes, just 5 in the last 2 weeks, which is pretty slow, but Kara and I knew that we were taking off and, you know.
We didn't want to leave a hot mess.
Didn't
Just
leave
a
hot
light mess.
Everything went very well while we were gone. I don't think we had
No issues.
no issues. That we had a transport happening we should have hired Craig to transport us to Key West. We would have made it there in no time.
We would have gotten there faster.
Anyway, had a transport on that Saturday that went fine and
Yeah, they brought the dog right to the foster's home, which was awesome.
awesome.
In true Craig fashion. Worked out great.
So we had Monroe, Trinket, and Pops. Were those the three that came
so
together?
Monroe, Trinket, and Pops, originally during their transport, I named Auntie, Grandma, and Pops. They kept the name Pops. And they were just kind of like 3 different ages of Chihuahuas that sort of fit that.
You were working on this when we left podcast recording last time, I believe.
Yeah.
Because it was late at night. And
Getting
you're like,
them I got nothing.
I got nothing. Just
Yeah.
put them in there.
Yes. But Monroe was the little blonde Chihuahua. Trinket, actually, we weren't even supposed to get Trinket. Trinket came because we tagged another dog who they thought had parvo symptoms, so they ended up at the shelter that they were at euthanizing that dog. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of parvo going around. And
especially down in Oklahoma.
Yes.
There was a parvo outbreak down there.
Yes. So, when they see any signs of that in the shelter, they just have to because you can't risk a full-fledged outbreak.
And honestly, it's the most humane thing to do.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Yeah. There are like positive treatments for parvo, but it costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But
we've done it. We've been successful at it.
No, that was
that was
distemper. We've never had parvo. Knocking on wood, goodness, because it's terrible.
Happen.
No. But anyway, so then I went back to the list of dogs that were I always look in the behavioral column because there's undoubtedly a little dog that's just freaking terrified. Mm-hmm. And when they go to evaluate them, they can't tell whether they're terrified or if they're actually mean.
Aggressive, yeah.
But when they're 4 pounds, I don't care because I can fix it or whatever, it doesn't matter. So, or at least try. So Trinket is an adorable little like 8-year-old dog, which I'll save her adoption story until she's actually adopted because she has her surgery tomorrow. She has a mammary tumor. She has got some kind of nasty teeth and she needs a spay. So she's getting all of that done tomorrow. And she does have a home waiting for her, but they haven't officially adopted her. So I'm going to save that because it's so cute. That was really fun. And then Pops is 100,000-year-old Chihuahua whose microchip goes to New Mexico for some reason. He has one completely white eye that he surely can't see out of, and the other one that is pretty cloudy. But he can see, because I had him at my house for a little while before he got picked up by his foster that evening, and he followed me everywhere. Just like, I guess maybe he can't see, maybe he's just like
Otter follows me
Otter.
everywhere.
But he knew the moment he walked in the door, he was like, "Where are we going?" He's looking at me, and he's jumping up on my leg, and he's like, how do
You
you
see shadows. and
Yeah, I
whatnot.
guess he can kind of see enough, but yeah, he'll be a tough adoption, but somebody looking for a senior dog would be really lucky to get him. He's really sweet. So,
Ripley, the
you did that one.
male, female.
Yeah, a transitioning dog.
That dog was bigger than I
We
thought
thought it was little. Yeah, it's like 30 pounds, but it's very overweight. I think it should be about 18 pounds, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dog was, her owner, was elderly and had some dementia, and it was progressing, and he was not intentionally, I don't think.
Well, not
just-
in his normal
Right.
state of mind would not have been
Right.
acting this way, but was being kind of abusive towards the dog.
and again, not intentional, and he was being moved to a facility anyway, and so the
The
family
owner,
was
yeah.
like, "Wait, it's time."
Yeah.
So that's Ripley, and Sid was that corgi that we were leaving, and you're like, "Well, here you go. If you want to do anything with it."
So we're in the
Stacy."
airport getting ready to get on the plane, and there's this gal in town who's a part of the Corgi Club, the Des Moines Corgi Club, and she just kind of keeps an eye out for corgis in need or looking for help or whatever. And she had sent us one before we had taken in, and she sent us this one, and I said, well, like usual, fill out the surrender form, we'll see what we can do.
Right.
Right away, they filled out the surrender form, so I forwarded it on to Stacy, the Corgi Queen, and by the time we were taking off, she's like, I'm meeting them on Saturday to pick him up.
Perfect.
First, she said, I'll have to talk to my husband. And I said, well, I think he's in kind of a bad situation, but whatever you want to do.
Take all the time you need.
You know, we're out of town, so we can't help. But if you want to take this over and save this dog's life, you sure could. And yeah, she had the dog by the time we were having cocktails at the pool.
Oh my god. Well, so just the 5 intakes. Things in the rescue world are really slow at the beginning of summer.
Yes.
I was gonna do a nice little graph chart thing on intakes and adoptions and all
Based
that.
on like time of year or just
Right.
like currently. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on my list.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I feel like we always say when the slowdowns happen, we're like, well, yeah, it's because of this, this, and this.
Mhm.
But it's like, is that just, it just happens naturally, or is it truly consistent year after year? And we'll
Yeah.
know more after like year 5, but
I'm just gonna drop that file into ChatGPT and tell it to give me some insights.
yes, please.
Anyway, but this normally doesn't happen. We have almost 3 times the number of adoptions.
Yes.
It takes 13 adoptions out the door.
I didn't scroll down to the next page. There's more than I thought.
We've got Gremlin, which is one of those.
One of the sick Frenchies
Frenchies.
that were completely fixed up after literally good food, antibiotics, and some light meds. Like, these dogs didn't need much. They are going to get mastectomies before they're officially adopted.
They're getting a breast reduction.
Yeah, they're going to have their nippies removed because they literally touch the ground. They're disgusting. And I've seen dogs adopted out.
What rescue is doing that? Tell me.
None. I was just going to say, I've seen dogs adopted out again and again at those short-nosed breed rescues, and they all have been overbred, you know, when they get them into that rescue. So all the females have, like, one of them brought one of the dogs to Paws and Pints, and it was like a bulldog, and its entire belly was on the ground dragging. I'm like, it's going to get sores from that.
Oh my god! Tell them about that wiener dog that came across.
Oh, yeah. I wish
This thing looked like a tick.
it was the fattest. It said it was 30 pounds, but should be 15. And it was a wiener dog, like an elderly wiener dog. And it had like a bunch of hair loss and stuff. And it couldn't walk. But I swear, like, I couldn't save it because we were on a plane and I was having trouble getting the Wi-Fi signal. So I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. But it had like a video of it. And it's just sitting in its sausage spot. And its little tail is going 100 miles an hour, just wagging. But I don't even think it could walk. Like, how do you even
There
get
was
to be
no
that
sunlight underneath that thing.
fat? No.
It reminded me of the Slinky dog off of Toy Story
If
because
yeah, yes. If
just
that
dragged on the
dog had
ground.
been like surrounded in lard, yeah, it was crazy. But
Gacy, Dahmer, Dyer, Holmes, 4 of the 5 puppies.
which actually, I think they all have homes. Did I miss one? Maybe.
It might have been listed on the last one.
Oh, I just don't have the date yet because it hasn't officially gone home. But yeah, that one's ready to, or that one's out the door too, I believe.
All the puppies
all the puppies are gone.
are spoken for.
Mm-hmm.
Astro was that boxer. No, Boston Terrier.
Boston
excuse me.
Terrier. Oh,
In and
so
out.
cute. But it had so many apps that were sucky.
Shit.
Absolute garbage.
20 apps.
Yeah, really terrible.
Oscar was one of the non-wiener.
Yeah, we thought they were wiener
Wiener
dogs,
dogs.
but they weren't when they got here. They were min pin chihuahuas.
Also Schnitzel again.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, and Arthur. So there were 4 of them that came in together.
Yes.
3 of them have been adopted. The last one is Polly Pocket, and if she doesn't get adopted this week, I have to start fostering her.
So you need to get logged into the Facebook page and start making some posts.
I told Tracy to send me some more content. God damn it.
Well, and the thing is, I gave Tracy preferential treatment by giving her the smallest, cutest one, and that one's the last one to go.
I'm going to message her right now.
Yeah, you're failed. Celeb was that fat, adorable, squishy little cupcake muffin of a chihuahua. She was brown and squishy and adorable, and she got adopted so fast. I thought this little overweight chihuahua there's no way it's going to sit and sit and sit. No, in and out, so cute. Everyone saw what I saw. Klaus. This was a roller coaster ride. Klaus is the one that it was a
gosh.
11.
That woman.
That was crazy. An elderly Sheltie, okay? And so it gets to Nadia, who is the foster, who is normally like very, very good, but this dog just,
Did not get along with the resident.
it was an 11-year-old unneutered dog, so it had a lot of male energy, okay? And her dog wasn't a fan of that. Does great with puppies,
Same.
has done well with all kinds of other fosters they've had, never had this issue, but just really didn't get along. And they got into a couple of light tussles, and she lives in a really small house, and she was like, I don't know,
isn't
like, this
working.
is not working. Can someone help? So, but Klaus right away, because he's a Sheltie and people love those, had an application that looked really, really good. It was people who had owned Shelties their whole lives. They had recently lost theirs, blah, 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 blah. So we set up an appointment for Klaus to meet these people on Friday. And then he was going to go home with them if it was a good fit. And then they were going to bring him back for his neuter, which was the following week.
Mm-hmm.
So they met him. They fell in love. They were so excited. They took him home. Less than 3 hours later, this woman is like messaging saying, I need to bring him back. I made a mistake. I wasn't ready for a dog. I thought I was ready for a dog. I don't want him anymore. I need you to take him. Can I bring him tonight? And they lived like an hour and a half away, and she was going to drive him back at like 11 o'clock at night. That's how adamant she was this dog was coming back.
Adoption remorse.
Yes. And we were like, you can bring him back tomorrow between the hours of like 3 and 7. Like, you're
normal
not
person.
Yeah, you're not coming back in the middle of the night tonight. Like, absolutely not. So we did that, and then in the meantime, we found Ginny was like, I'll take him at my house because it wasn't working with Nadia. So because he has to come back, he can come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had that all set up. So I gave the lady Ginny's information, and then they began communicating.
Right.
Ginny then gets thrust into this. She's never even met this dog, okay?
Or this woman.
Or this woman, nothing. And then she was like, yeah, I was in Home Depot and she called me and she goes, I got stuck on the phone with her for like an hour talking back and forth about, letting dogs settle in. And Ginny is like such a soft spoken, like sweet, kind person. I can't imagine. She was she was so patient with her, I'm sure. And by the end of the call, she was like, you're right. Everything's going to be okay. I'm really happy. I really do love him. I want to make it work. I know I haven't given enough time, blah, blah, blah. And so we're like, okay, good. Yay. Cool.
Talked you off a ledge.
4 or 5 hours later, it becomes middle of the night, and she's messaging and emailing and calling and text messaging Nadia over and over and over and over and over again, basically like, he humped my leg. I'm worried about leaving him home with my 86-year-old mother. What if he humps her leg and then she gets knocked over and blah 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 and all this stuff, and we're like, holy crap. So I sent her all of the links to settling in, the foster, all the stuff, on and on and on and on and on and on.
And I'm checking the email the next day. Like, all of this has gone down, unbeknownst to me.
Yes.
I'm not part of any of this at all.
No, because it
And-
was supposed to be an in and out thing. We hadn't
Right.
even made an official group chat.
And I opened the email, and there's this lady, and it was like one of those phone calls where they just went straight into the content.
Yeah.
But I didn't have all the backstory.
No.
And this lady's going on about humping the leg, and she was crying tears of joy, and then she was crying tears of sadness. I mean, this is the whole email.
It's up and down. It's a roller coaster. It's completely
I needed a
bonkers.
Xanax after
Yeah.
reading the email. And I messaged Kara. I called her. I called you.
Yeah.
It constituted a
Yeah.
phone call.
Yes.
Which I try not to bother you during the day, but I was like, what the fuck is going on with this lady?
Yeah.
So then I got the whole download, and I'm like, gee, okay. My main concern is the dog okay? Like, is the dog safe?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't just, rush into this adoption because of all the, but no, Jenny was ready to take the dog. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
we had a
about
place.
that.
Like, we didn't care. Like, it was fine. It was no big deal. But, like, this woman is just,
Oh.
like, needs to get her prescription checked out. Like, the email. So she sends this email, because now she's looped in with 3 of us. Kara, Nadia, Ginny. You will have to forward this to Ginny, please, as I don't have her email address. I'm writing this now, as I know I won't be able to speak much without crying this afternoon, and I'm crying right now. I really love Klaus, and I thank you for letting me adopt him, and we all love him, and I know he loves us. Granted, this is Tuesday. She's had him since Sunday, I think, maybe Monday. I don't know. It's not long. It's like 48 hours max. He's sitting on my bed behind me as sweetly as I type this email. I thank you for all of your support over the weekend and having more confidence in him and me than I do in myself. He has really calmed down so much in the last day even. He is so young at heart for nearly 11 years old, and I worry I won't be active enough for him, ? He's 11. He's not. He's fine. I know I love him and have bonded with him, but I doubt you allowing me to keep him is even an option anymore, because you're insane. She wasted hours of all of our lives. And she says, if doing a home inspection and seeing him here with us after his surgery is something that would help, but everything is up to you. I'll be fine with a follow-up inspection visit down the road. I completely get that you are all likely pretty fed up with me by now. Yeah. And I had a dog I had to let go last year. She was 16 and I still miss her so much. You can ask my family how devoted I was to Chloe. Sky was and then she goes on and on about her other Shelties and blah, 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 blah. I knew when I saw Klaus that he was what for me. And so I just write back.
We are dead inside.
I just write back like very little. I'm like, he's still your dog at this time if you want to try longer. If you do decide it's not a fit, please fill out this form. For now, we can keep the plan of Nadia taking him to his appointment and you picking him up on Wednesday night. Please coordinate with her accordingly. Klaus and you need time to fully bond and set boundaries and learn the ropes of being a family. It takes time and patience. Thank you for committing to him. And then I link the podcast again about the 333 rule. And then she responds, thank you, ... I am committed, ... And now, really happy, and the tears are flowing, ... Happy tears. Just goes on and on, like, what? And all of the text messages are so, like, completely bonkers.
Did you meet her in person?
I didn't get to meet her in
Nadia
person.
did.
No, Nadia did.
Nadia is the only one that's met her in person.
Yeah, so this is all her fault. Oh.
The spectrum of people that we encounter is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I have no doubt that this dog is going to be well taken care of. I just think that the woman was not like emotionally ready to bring on another dog, and she thought she was going to get like a perfect dog that was just going to walk through the door and be completely fine. And also, she's completely
bonkers.
imbalanced.
Oh, man. Well,
Crazy.
happy tails, Klaus.
So funny. But yeah, he's doing good. We haven't heard anything
luck with
more, and
that.
it's been like 2 weeks now. So, oh my God.
This is the hard part because, my mom and I were just talking about this the other day because we had checked in on Winona, and that's a whole nother story. But I said, well, I just don't think that, and we weren't talking specifically about Winona's adopters. We were talking about adopters in general. And I said, well, no one's going to love them as much as we do. And da-da-da. She goes, you always tell me, though, that we're not the only people that can give a dog a perfect home and blah, blah, blah. I said, I know that, Mom, but I know if the dog is with you that it is in the perfect home.
Right.
Because I know you.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get a total read on a person through an application and a phone
even
call.
like a single meeting. Like
and a single meeting. I mean,
you're going to mess up. You're going to like pick the wrong people. And, I'm sure that I know that Nadia gave her all of the literature that we always give out, and I know that she talked to her, and she knew enough about Nadia that she trains her dogs and all these things. Like, there was a crazed text message about maybe somebody like Nadia who knows how to train dogs would be better. I'm like, he's an 11-year-old Sheltie. He doesn't need anything. He needs his balls cut off, and he needs to have a couch corner. He'll be fine. Like,
but you
just don't know.
You worry about them, but dogs are so resilient.
Yeah.
And what are the alternatives? Where did Klaus come from again?
Owner
surrender.
died.
Owner died. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
what was going to happen to this dog anyway? And
Yeah.
who's to say that it wouldn't have been worse?
Yeah.
Who's to say it
Usually
wouldn't have been
these
better?
older dogs, when the owners die, the first thing the family does is make an appointment to have the dog euthanized.
So we're all doing our best.
Yeah.
It is.
It was just
that's the
kind of
best we can
humorous.
do.
And then after all this happened, and I included Ginny in the email, she sends a message and she goes, I literally have no words. Like, this is the most insane thing ever. And I said, girls, I have one last thing for you to do. And as soon as Klaus goes back to this woman, everybody block her number. She can email the rescue back if she needs anything, but please do not let her call you or text you or anything ever again. She's insane.
We also got an insane email today.
Yeah.
Oh, that wraps up. Monroe and Trickrent also got adopted. We
Yes.
talked about that.
Yeah.
So, we got this freaking wild email today, and it just sent me. I was not in the mood at the exact moment that I saw it. So,
Well, we haven't responded, which is good.
So this is the type of emails that we get, and I'm sure everybody's that's listening to this podcast by now knows why this is so frustrating, but I'm just going to read it anyway. Hello, we are at high risk for having to euthanize our dog. I'm not going to say the
Opening line.
just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off the bat, straight into content. Nothing about, hello, my name is so-and-so, and I live in so-and-so, and I have this dog that is such and such, blah, blah, blah. No. We have had him for 5 years. Got him from Forever Homes Rescue. He's been an amazing dog, and we are trying to do everything we can to save him and find him a good home. The negatives. We just had a newborn and cannot risk something going wrong. Well, that seems like an oxymoron to me. We had a family friend agree to take him on, and it's not working out as he has a wife that is scared of him. He is a, how do you say that?
Rhodesian Ridgeback
Okay.
Pit Bull, right?
And I wasn't really sure if she was talking about. Anyway, he's about 5.5 human years old. No shelter we have contacted will take him. He would require a fenced-in backyard as he is extremely hard to take on walks.
So wait. We've had him for 5 years, got him from Forever. So they got him as a puppy, and now he's 5.5. So they got him at 6 months old, and all of this was caused in their home. I would just like to call that out.
Good math.
Yeah.
Doing the, what's that noise?
Oh, my phone must be ringing.
Oh,
Oh, it's my
is it
mother-in-law.
an Amber Alert?
Almost the same thing.
No shelter we have contacted will take him. He would require a fenced-in backyard as he is extremely hard to take on walks due to him hating dogs and being very protective. He had never bitten us in 5 years, but his original owner, who appears to have abused him, sent him to the rescue for biting while trying to put him in the kennel.
At 6 months old.
He is house trained, very loving, and sweet once he can trust you. He's good with cats. He would require a very experienced owner with no other dogs. Please let me know if you all know someone that could help. I understand if not, but trying to exercise every last option. So, there is a whole lot wrong with this entire email.
Yeah.
Like you said, the math just isn't mathing.
Right.
We've had him for 5 years. He's 5.5 years old. You know, that a dog being abused between 0 to 6 months,
It's not gonna.
that's gonna work out.
It'll
That's gonna
be
work itself out.
It'll be
if it's even
fine,
true.
If it's even true. I really hate. So it seems like to me a lot of people who adopt dogs they want them to have a story and they want them to have been abused. They want this like horrible sad sack story.
Sure.
It's hardly true usually. You know, they'll say clearly this dog was abused by a woman because it doesn't really like women. Well, how
doesn't
about
like you?
Right. How about this dog was raised only in a male-only household and he's never experienced being around a woman before? How about he was under-socialized and he's only been around one other human being on this planet for the first 3 years of his life, and now he's being exposed to all kinds of people, and these women who are a thing he's never seen before are very scary. Is that an equally likely scenario? Yes. Like,
definitely.
You know, it's constant that people are like, well, he was clearly beaten because, you know, he cowers when I go to pet him. It's like, well, that doesn't mean that. Like, dogs can be hand shy without being beaten. And even if he was abused up till 6 months old, you've now had him for 5 years and you've done absolutely nothing to correct the fact that he's bad on a leash, he's reactive to other dogs, he's under socialized. All of those things are on you.
If they're even true.
Yes. Well,
I think what's really happening here is exactly what you said. They're creating a story because they have a newborn and they want to get rid of this dog.
Right. Yeah.
Which is equally irritating and offensive.
Yes.
Yeah, all of these things. And it's like, I just want to, when I get these kind of phone calls on the bat phone, like this is an email, but when I get these calls on the bat phone and they're explaining all this to me, like it has to go to he'd have to be the only dog. No cats, no small animals, no kids, no, like, lady, where do you want me to find this freaking unicorn in foster?
Right. Are you calling to tell me all this or emailing to tell me all this because you just want me to tell you that it's okay to euthanize this dog based on how you're explaining it to me? One, I always think that. It's like, well, are you just expecting that you want permission to like do this horrible thing because it's a dog that you took on and now you're no longer willing to be responsible for?
Yeah, if you say that though, you get hung up on.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah. One, and like the other two, it's like so you're telling us all of these problems, but there's nothing in here telling me like how you've remedied it or like how the dog has like.
Yeah, he's spent. We've worked with a trainer. This is the trainer. Blah blah blah.
Like just immediately we had a newborn, and so we sent this dog, even though the dog had never bitten anybody in their household.
That was the other thing that I didn't get. I'm like, so you've never had an issue with him. He's never bit you. You don't have any negative experiences with this dog.
Yeah, in your house as it is now.
Why do you need to get rid of him now?
Right.
Like what is there to risk?
Like if they had added a sentence like he's lunging at the baby or he's trying to rip the baby out of its crib or like trying to, like dingo ate my baby. Like nothing.
Looking at the baby like a snack.
Yes.
You know.
Remember when I got that one phone call where the lady was like, I can tell he's trying to kill me. And
yeah.
I was like, oh,
like the Vaseline lady.
Yeah, my dog, I can. Yeah. My dog, I can see him look. I was like, has he like growled or bitten at you or lunged at you or anything? And she's like, no, I can just tell by how he looks at me. I'm like, you need to go to a 48-hour psychiatric hold, ma'am.
I love how we can say the Vaseline lady and you know what we're talking about.
I don't even know what episode to send people to hear that story, but crazy.
The moo-moo.
Yeah.
Oh, the flashbacks. I wasn't even there. You sold it so well, though. I have a nice picture in my head. Anyway, I don't even know. So it's like, do you even respond? What do you respond with? I mean, do they even want to hear it? I don't know.
I haven't responded, and I don't know that if we will. I mean, our only response will be, no, if everything you're saying is true, no, we can't help you, which sucks. So I don't know.
Rhodesian Ridgeback pit bull mix. And it's always a pit bull.
And
too.
you know, a Rhodesian Ridgeback is I believe they were bred to hunt lions.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're a very powerful, very muscular dog. Yeah, they're beautiful.
It looks like a lab.
Yeah,
With a
they're
long
they're
neck.
really long neck, long legged, hunt large game, including lions. That's
South African Kennel Union.
yeah, that's what
Okay.
these dogs are bred for. So not whatever. Life expectancy
10 to 12
10
years.
to 12 years. Oh, yeah,
80 to 90 pounds. Yeah, it's a big boy.
yeah, they're big dogs and they're powerful. And if you don't train them well or socialize them well, I could see where it would become a problem.
So we probably won't even respond to this. You know,
No,
we're
I
not
mean,
going to engage. We're not going to.
there's not a lot we can
whatever.
do.
There's nothing we can do about it.
No.
We don't even have a foster home that has those parameters.
There's no way. No, I have nobody that I would give this dog to, even if it had none of the behavioral issues except for that it didn't get along with other dogs. That is very difficult for us. We can only take one or two at a time that maybe have that restriction. Just 'cause
But this is
it's
one
too
of
hard.
those emotionally taxing things where again you're at 2 a.m. like what happened to that dog. So, but that's part of running a rescue, I guess. No,
Yeah.
Don't mean to bitch about it all the time, but it's like little little BBs hitting you all the time. And it's like eventually that's gonna chip away at. And that's why a lot of rescues burn out. And
That's true. Well, and I mean, so far our power is in our union of being able to
bitch about it on this podcast.
bitch about it on this podcast and raise your hand when you need a moment and all the things. But I don't know.
Thanks for listening to us bitch about this stuff all the time.
Yeah. Well, people still are. I don't know why some days, but I think we're kind of entertaining. Not always, but to each other we are. Yeah. So I don't know. It just one of those deals. So a highs, the lows, the roller coaster that is.
Oh yeah, we're gonna tell you
rescue.
all. If it was all Snicker bars and rainbows, everybody would do it.
Yeah, and this would not be a very interesting podcast.
What else? Anything else?
No, I don't think so. We were going to have that event coming up, but it got canceled, so that's coming soon. I think if you saw us posting about it, I should mention, if you're listening in real time, we were posting about a parking lot dog event that Shields was putting on, which we were going to be at. But, speaking of the math not mathing, an event in the parking lot of a mall in the end of June is not the best plan because it's too hot. So they figured that out and have rescheduled. We're going to do sometime in fall, which will be lovely. There's not always a lot of things going on then, and that's going to be really good. So, and Hollywood and I will be able to be there. So that'll be really great. So
and
just know that's canceled.
Then just a nice overall general reminder about dogs and pavement and how hot it gets. I know we've talked about this before, but
put the back of your hand on the ground, and if you can't hold it there,
please be cognizant. And if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
If you see somebody walking their dog and you put your hand on the pavement and it's burning up,
yeah,
go ahead and feel free to stop them.
Yeah, just
be
say,
a Karen.
Hey, could you check their toes, please?
Yes. And
they'll probably yell at you, but whatever.
I don't care. Well, I would rather get yelled at and save a dog's paws than to say nothing. And a dog, and
watch
you burn those paw pads off, and you're looking at a very long healing process.
Well, that happened to me once. It's terrible.
High risk for infection.
Yeah.
And it's very painful.
Very painful.
So go ahead and yell at me all you want.
Oh, I know.
The risk is worth the reward.
That happened to me with my friend's Boston Terrier. I was young, dumb, broke, living in an apartment. She was like, could you watch my dogs for the day? I'm like, sure. I'm in an apartment, so I'm like, I'm going to walk them up to the dog park, which was literally just across a small parking lot. And then on the way back, and I noticed that he was walking kind of funny. And when we got back in the house, we were literally not walking anywhere that should have happened, but it was very hot out. And his little paw pads they weren't totally burned off, but he had some burns, and it was clearly from he had some blisters because it was too hot, and I felt horrible. And of course, then I had to call my friend and be like, well, I fucked up.
Maybe don't let me do that again.
Yeah, she didn't either. She never brought me those dogs back. I know. But I learned. I didn't really know. I had never experienced that before. I didn't even think about it. But that was
even out on decks and patios. Like if you're we talked last episode about dog friendly establishments, and even out on the patios, the composite decking gets very hot.
Cement on there too.
Just make sure your dog has somewhere that it can get to, walk it in the grass or,
Yeah.
on a trail. Just keep it off the pavement, especially asphalt.
Yeah, for sure.
There's the general reminder.
Yeah, there's our PSA. It's getting hot. Tomorrow's going to be real hot.
Yeah, this weekend's going to be, I've already got the extreme heat warning
Oh.
for this weekend.
I'm watching Lincoln Log this weekend because his parents are getting married.
Oh.
Yeah.
They bought a house, adopted a dog, and got married all in 1 month.
Yeah.
Nut. Absolutely nuts. They'll be pregnant by 4th of July.
Yeah.
Speaking of 4th of July, that's coming up, and our next episode next week is going to talk all about it.
Yes, it will.
Until then,
We'll figure it out.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see, what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel, what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what, do what? We got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.